Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this video we will study about the Mysql not null constraint. So what is a not null constraint? This constraint forces the values in a column to be not null. So what does this mean? That whatever value is stored in a table, if you mention that particular column is not null, then you can never insert a null value in that column. So let us try to understand this with a practical example. So this is my database, and I say select database, then you'll get the database. That's a publisher database, and then I will create a table, and suppose the name of the table is suppose the products table, and I have two columns, product ID int and product name. Okay, that is suppose varchar 20, and against product name I add a constraint, that is the not null constraint. So I have created its product table, and now let us try to do something. Suppose I say insert into products, and then I give the name of the column, suppose the product ID and the product name, and then I insert values. Suppose I say that first the product ID is 1 and the product name is suppose soap, then this will be inserted. And if I say select star from which table, from the products table, then you will get this select star from products, you'll get it. But now if you insert another row and you give the second value, that is a name value, to null, so will it accept it? Let us try to see this. Suppose the product ID is 2, and then I try to insert it. See, it is not inserted. Why? Because product name cannot be null. So why? Because we have inserted a null constraint inside not null constraint inside the product name. So product name column, this column can never be null. So this is what I have written over here. The syntax of a not null constraint is something like this: column name, data type, and then not null. So this is what we have done over here. See, when we created the table, how we created the table? We created the table something like this. Suppose the product name column, that was made not null. So the column name, and then what was the data type? The data type was varchar 20, and then I gave the not null constraint. So this column product name is a not null column. Okay, clear? So I can never insert a null values inside this. So now if I say if I describe my table products, then what will you get? You will see that this product name, and there is one, in the describe there is one column that is a null. So this product name, the value for product name against null is no. So that means product name can never be what? It can never be null. But product ID can always be null. How it can be null? Just see. For example, I say insert into product, suppose I just give the product name. If I just give the product name, then what will be the product ID? It will be null. Suppose the name of the product is shampoo, and then if you say select star from which table, products table, then you will get a value of ID. ID is nullable. ID can be set to null. Why? Because here you have seen the PID can be null, but can product name be null? No, it can never be null. So this is what is null constraint. In many cases, it may be required that you need to create a not null constraint on an existing column, in an existing column. Sorry. So how will you add it? See, to do this, you will use a change alter table change. So how will you do it? To add a not null constraint to an existing column. So let us try to see this also. For example, let me create another table. Create table. Suppose I will say products 1, suppose. Okay, and there is one column PID, and that is in, and there is one more column product name, and that is varchar 20. So I have created this table, that is the products 1 table. And if you say DSC describe the products 1 table, then you will both of these column, that is the product ID and then the product name, both of them can be what? They can be null. So I try to do something like this: insert into which table? Products 1 table, suppose values 1 comma soap. So we have created the products 1 table, and then I insert a value, suppose 2 comma shampoo, and then I insert suppose third, and for against the third ID I insert a null value. So how will I insert a null value? I will just write null over here. So now you can see, if I say select star from which table, from the products 1 table, then you will get the product name as null. So now what I want to do is that I want to add a null constraint to the product name column of the products 1 table. See what I want to do? I want to add a null constraint to the product name column. Okay, so what command will I use? I will use this command. See, to add a not null constraint, sorry, I want to add a not null constraint. I don't want to add a null constraint, I want to add a not null constraint. The value is nullable, but I want to add a not null constraint to the product name column. So to add a not null constraint to an existing column, what command will I use? I will use this command, alter table table name, change the old column name to the new column name, and then the new column definition. So how will I go for it? I will say something like this, alter table what is the name of the table? Products 1. And then what will I say? Change, sorry, change. And what is the old column name? P name. What is the new column name? I would say it is P name. And then what is the new column definition? So I have to give the whole column definition. See what the data type, and then followed by the the not null constraint. So what was the data? What is the data type that I want? I want the data type to be also what? It has to be a varchar, but I will add a new constraint to it. What is that constraint? I will add a not null constraint to the product name column. If I try to do this, let us see. Okay. Yeah, it is done. So now if I say select star from products 1, then what it has done, see, it has replaced all these null value, the null value that was there in the product name column, it has replaced it with a blank string. Okay, so now I can never insert a null value in the product name column of the products 1 table. For if I try to do it, for example, here if I try to do this, suppose I say the PID to be 4, and then if I try to do this, it will never happen. Why? Because product name column can never be null. And if you see products 1 table, see this column product name, it can never be set to what? It can never be now set to null. Alright, yeah, there is one more thing that I just want to tell, that whenever you add the null constraint, sorry, a not null constraint, I always confuse it with a null. I would say a not null constraint to a column, then it is generally a good practice that you also give a default value. How will you give a default value? For example, I'll just create a test table. Suppose I say create table test 11. Suppose the name of the table is test 11, and there is just one column, serial number of type int, but I will add a not null constraint to this serial number column, and I will also give what? I will give a default value. Suppose default value is 0. Okay, so if now I say insert into okay, what will I do? I'll just add one more column. I'll quickly add one more column to this table. Alter table, what was the name of the table? Test 11. Suppose add suppose name, and I will say column. Okay, or add column name, and then suppose the data type is of varchar 20. Then when you say DSC test 11, what values will you get? The serial number and the name. See, serial number, I have added the not null constraint, so serial number can never be null. So let me try to do one thing. I will say insert into test 11, and I will not give the serial number value. I'll just give what? I'll just give the name. So I will say name, and suppose values. In the name I just give one field, what? Krishna. Okay, then what will happen? See, select star from test 11. If you do this, then the serial number will be set to its what? It will be set to its default value, and this is exactly what we did while creating the table. We said that serial number, default value for serial number has to be what? It has to be 0. So if you don't give the value of serial number, then it will be set to its default value of 0. And this is exactly what happened over here. I just inserted the name into this test1 table. I didn't inserted the serial number. The serial number was set to what? It was set to 0. And serial number can never be null. See, if you describe test1, then what is happening? Serial number can never be set to null. So because we have added a not null constraint to the serial number column. Okay. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and please do keep on liking, subscribing my videos, and fix your goal, think about your goals, and think about how you can move ahead in order to achieve that goals. So many times we are physically lazy, but there is also one thing as mentally lazy. So don't be mentally lazy. Mentally plan something to do, something good that you want to achieve in your life, and go for it. Thank you so much.